Warning, Biffy is occupied.
Today on the Save It for Parts channel, we need to figure out when someone is pooping. Look, it's best not to ask too many questions. For simplicity's sake, what I need to figure out is how we have a porta potty door. When it closes and latches, an alarm goes off at another location, ideally wireless. When the porta potty is in use, we want certain other operations to stop or at least pause for a bit, just for safety's sake. So let's see what I've got lying around the garage to try and make that happen. We have a big ringy alarm. We have a strobe light, timers and transmitter modules. We have some project enclosures because this will have to be outside in potentially any weather. And we've got a few different solar panel options to power the thing because this is also an off-grid project. These little solar panels are actually pretty slick. They've got not just the panel, but a built-in power bank, and these will output USB 6 volt or 12 volts. So these are really cool. I might end up using some stuff like this for Meshtastic projects later, but for now, I think this 12 volt output is going to be what we want. As usual, half of these products came from Axeman Surplus, which is one of my favorite stores in the Twin Cities. First off, let's see if these little power banks will run our 12 volt alarm system. Yeah, it only really rings once. I think it's maybe not enough power, or there might be some other piece missing, some kind of oscillator that rings this on and off. All right, strobe light works fine. So I've got some of these little wireless remotes, which work very inconsistently. Sometimes they just sit here clicking. Yeah, this project is not going well so far. I think what's happening is we're getting a voltage drop from the strobe light turning on, which then pulls the power down enough that the relay turns off, so it just kind of gets in a loop. That might actually be good for the bell here because we want that to oscillate. Yeah, no such luck. This stays activated once I click it here. I dug out a couple more strobe lights from my junk collection. However, unfortunately, these are AC powered. And with these running, it just looks like the Keystone Cops are after us. Well, unfortunately, my old style DC motor and alarm don't behave very well with that DC relay, so we might have to buy something a little bit newer for this project. For the voice part of this alarm, I've got this old talking smoke detector. This was a gimmick from a few years back where some scientists said, well, kids will respond better to a parent telling them to get out the door versus just an alarm going off. So you could record your own personal message on this, and then when there's a terrifying fire, your kids will also have the terrifying sound of your voice coming from the ceiling. I think there's really only one good thing this could say when there's a fire in the kitchen. Pork chop sandwiches! So I made a little mix with some sound effects and text-to-speech, and now we have this.
Warning, Biffy is occupied.
I went to Axeman Surplus and got a few more parts for this project. So we have a linear actuator to move our strobe light down out of the enclosure. I think I'm going to use this enclosure. And since this strobe light didn't work very well, we're going to try this one, LED strobe light. So hopefully uses a little less power than this old motorized incandescent one. So let's try something a little different. I don't know if these little solar power banks are going to work for this project. I think they just don't put out enough power to run bigger stuff like the linear actuator and the strobe light and all the electronics. So we'll put these aside. I'll use them for a Meshtastic node or something. So we'll go to a bigger 12 volt battery. This is one of those lithium flavor of the week chemistries. And I think this has some charge in it. And then we'll use a bigger solar panel and charge controller to keep this topped up. And then I also need to incorporate this timer relay. So I don't want the alarm to just go off forever. I want it to come on, stay on for 30 seconds or a minute, and then shut itself off. So that's where this guy comes in. And then a further modification, our little talking smoke alarm here has not only the speaker, but also this really loud buzzer. And I don't want the buzzer. We've got other audible alarms here. So I'm going to see if I can desolder this. All right, so I've got the strobe light working on the remote. But I think I've managed to kill my talking smoke detector. Yeah, there's always some setbacks along the way with projects like this. Alright, so the idea is when the Biffy door closes, it activates the transmitter, and our alarm box over here at the operations area does this.
Warning, Biffy is occupied. Cease all operations.
And then it's supposed to go ahead and retract itself, but I still have to wire that up. Alright, I'm back with the poop alert. I really need to get this thing finished, like, today if possible. And I've just been having a lot of issues with it, but I've ordered some new stuff. We've just got new parts, so I have a reversing circuit, so hopefully we can get the light here to retract and not only extend. Got some more relays to try to interface with that, so I'm not just sending 12 volts through places it shouldn't. So I need more of these connectors, and I just went on Amazon to order some, and realized I just ordered 8 of these, and I'm pretty sure the ones I'm using are part of that 8, and I can't find the rest anywhere. This place is a mess. Yeah, my creative process is just not very organized. Thought I had those cables in this pile over here, but nope, they're not there. Not in here with the other solar panel / RC stuff. Not in the junk drawers. Not in the electrical drawer. I already dug through all this. It's not in the short-term to-do pile, or the long-term to-do pile, or this other to-do pile. This is just stuff I've kind of forgotten about. All right, those are radio-type connectors. Maybe I put them in the obsolete radio box, which is also a mess. Wait, what's this? Hey, all right, that's what I was looking for. I started this channel as an excuse to stop hoarding things and actually use them, but I am absolutely not keeping up with the amount of junk I bring in versus what gets used. Sure, I could have used the 3D printer for this project, but the nozzle got 3D printer cancer and got all plugged up, and I bought a new nozzle like months ago. Haven't had time to put it in, so I'm just way too busy for all the babysitting and hoop jumping that 3D printing needs. Maybe I'll have time to 3D print something next year. All right, we have to take another cat break. I'm pretty sure I saw one of the neighborhood kitties come in here. Puss! Psst, 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 psst. Where's a puss? Oh, hi, there you are. Come here. Puss, psst, 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 psst. You're fine. Come here, I have treats. Come on. I know, you're skittish. You don't need to live in here, though. I know, there's a lot of mice in here, but you don't need to live in here. Okay, you gonna leave? Thank you. All right, we've had missing wire side quest. We've had stray cat side quest. I think we're in the final stretch, though. I think we can get this thing wrapped up this evening. Well, these might be some of the best soldering joints I've ever done. And my polarity is wrong, because the solar connector needs to be flipped on this end, so I need to pull these apart and redo them again. Alright, the solar charging system for this is finished. Just in time for the sun to go down, so I can't test it. Alright, one last step, and this is finished. So, a quick tour of the setup. We have the solar panel, which comes in here, the solar charge controller that charges this battery, and then when our Biffy door closes, we have the radio receiver down there. That activates this timer module, and that activates these 2 modules. So we have the voice chip, we have this other relay, that goes to the reversing motor drive, so it defaults to up, or retracted, reverse. When this relay goes off, this switches over to forward, drops down the linear actuator, and deploys the light, which is also turned on by the timer module. So the timer keeps the light active, keeps the linear actuator deployed, and keeps the sound going for basically the full extent of the sound on that chip. And then once that's over, once the timer runs out, the reversing relay flips on, the thing retracts, the light turns off, and the sound turns off. I've got 2 of these remotes, so we can use just the regular button. Alright, sometimes it prematurely gives up. I don't know what the deal is with that. I have to fiddle with the timer some more. The second remote is getting wired into a contact switch, so when the Biffy door shuts, we'll push that momentarily and activate the system. And then we have our beautiful sign to go on the front. This came out a little bit derpy because I didn't know the right settings for this plastic, but you know what? It matches the level of jank of the rest of this. This thing is made lovingly out of hot glue, zip ties, duct tape, electrical tape. Yeah, this is kind of a mess. I could definitely have done this better. I could have done like a breadboard or prototyping board. I could have organized my stuff a little better. But you know what? I think it's going to work, and as with all my stuff, this is basically a prototype. If it works out well, we can always redo it later and learn from our mistakes. One mistake that I'm pretty sure I know about already is this big gap This is going to be on the bottom, but this is definitely going to fill with bees. So we're going to have to put some kind of bee repellent in our box here. All right, our fancy, handy-dandy solar-powered poop alert should be ready to go. Everything is installed. Everything should be ready. So if we run over to the Biffy, all we need to do is either push this button for manual activation or slide the Biffy locked.
Warning, Biffy is occupied. Cease all operations.
All right, well, I'm pretty happy with this. This is exactly what I envisioned at the start of this project.
Warning, Biffy is occupied. Cease all operations.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed watching the Poop Alert 9000 as much as I enjoyed making it. Even though almost nothing from my original design worked, I did manage to get the thing going. We got it all functional, we have it set up, and it hasn't caught fire yet despite my dodgy wiring. So hopefully it will be a nice, long-lasting safety addition to Sandland. If you'd like to see more ridiculous projects like this, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks to everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Warning, Biffy is occupied. Cease all operations.